All right, we've got a big name Raiders forward missing this week, not playing. We've also got a very popular fullback across the NRL not playing fullback this week, and plenty more. Let's dive into TLT for round 17.
It's time to strap in and get ready. You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Metrics, and Whisperer.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Insight NRL Show. It is TLT, 10 past 4 on Tuesday. You know what that means. The teams are out. We're here to talk through them, and the show is brought to you by Game Day Squad, the perfect crossover between fantasy sports and card collecting. You can play for free, win for free, win up to $100,000 in prizes. You can take your squads on, as well as beat your friends in the Game Day Squad community. So you can sign up to Game Day Squad, go to gamedaysquad.com.au or download their app in the App Store. Use the code IFSAUS. Grab yourself 27 cards worth about $21 to get your squad started. Also, plenty coming at Game Day Squad. They've got their State of Origin exclusive competition. It's Game 3 coming up in a couple of weeks, so you can make a squad. It's the only platform that is doing a State of Origin fantasy-style format this year. So jump on in and get involved. Use the code to get yourself a head start. Now, we're here to talk, of course, about the team, so let's rip into those. We'll go over to NRL.com, and the first game that we've got here is the Panthers and the Bulldogs. In previous years, you'd think this would be a bit of a blockbuster. You know how we feel about Thursday night games. It is 7:50 Thursday night. Panthers paying $2.18. I actually don't mind the Panthers a bit of value here in this one. Bulldogs have been a bit hot and cold. I'm interested to see how Nathan Cleary pulls up. We'll talk about the teams in a second. I'm going to go with a smoky, and I'm going to back the Panthers in this one. Let's see how they look and see if they look a little bit better. They've got their Origin guys back, so let's have a chat about that. They've got To'o, Edwards, Yeo, Martin, and Nathan Cleary, all named for the Penrith Panthers. You do see Jack Cole, he drops out, and Scott Sorensen, he has been hit with a 2-week suspension for that hip drop last week. So you'll see there Thomas Jenkins remains on the wing, and it is Brian To'o that comes back in on the other wing to boot out Paul Alamotti, who will drop back into the reserves for this one. Casey McLean and Tungo stay in the centres. Nathan Cleary comes back into the 7. Now, it is reported that Nathan Cleary will not goal kick this week, so those duties will go to Dylan Edwards as expected. We do see the same forward pack. Isaiah Papali'i starting on the edge for Scott Sorensen in this one. Liam Martin back on the edge and Isaiah Yeo locking the scrum as we would have expected. And then nothing really to report on the bench. Luke Garner there back on the bench in the 17 jersey. A bit of the ultimate utility type stuff from him. For the Bulldogs, we do see Blake Wilson drop out for Carraz. Carraz is back on the wing, which is great. Stephen Crichton comes into centre to facilitate that move. And then we do see Matt Burton back in the 6 jersey. Lachlan Galvin dropping back to the bench in this one. I would have loved to see Lockie get a bit of time in the starters. He looked fantastic last week. That left edge was absolutely humming. So, would have liked to see that, but he's going to have to bide his time in a premiership threat team this year to find his spot. Reid Marty at 9, obviously. Daniel Saluka for feeder pairs with Max King at prop. Kick-out Preston and Hayward, the 11 through 13 there as expected. Kurt Mann coming back in on the bench. Would not be surprised at all if Kurt Mann comes in and starts at lock and Hayward drops back to the bench on game day. Harry Hayes, Josh Curran and Lockie Galvin, as mentioned there, round out the bench. The extended bench, we do see Sam Hughes there, so he's obviously trying to work his way back into this team. Mitch Woods, obviously after a very successful under-19 State of Origin game, has big raps, so getting him a little bit of an opportunity there to maybe see some time pending injuries. So that is the Panthers Bulldogs. I'll be backing the Panthers as a bit of a smoky in this one. They're starting to find some form at the right time of the year. It is at CommBank as well. So, we'll back the Panthers in game 1. Game 2, Sea Eagles and West Tigers. It is at 4 Pines Park. Tough road trip for the Tigers, as we would expect. They're paying $2.67. I'll back Manly in this one. Very interested to see, because there is a very big change here. You'll notice that Lei Hopewadi is named in the 1 jersey and Tom Trebojevic in the 4. Now, Tom Trebojevic reported to be playing right centre, with Ruben Garrick moving to the right wing. I really love that as a Garrick owner across multiple Supercoach fantasy formats, Game Day Squad formats. So, very good. And a big win for Lehigh Hopewadi as well to showcase what he can do. Tom Trebojevic naturally, apparently quite disappointed. But again, I think you just got to wait for him to get his body right. If he can get to that point, then he'll naturally take over the 1 again. It is touted to be a short-term move by Manly by making this happen. Daly Cherry Evans at the 7. Matt Lodge comes back into the team, so he'll start at prop with Siwa Takiaho. Jazz Tavanga will start in the 9. Looks like he's going to be the sole hooker in this one. We do have Jake Simpkin on the bench, though. Lachlan Croker is out of this game, so otherwise we would have probably naturally seen Croker the start with Tavanga on the bench. Corey Waddell on the edge for Hamoli Olakawatu, who's going to be missing anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks with that dislocated shoulder. So he's had an extra little bit of time. Luckily, didn't miss a game last week because Manly were on the bye. So the bench, I guess, you could probably say that they're a little bit riddled with injuries for middles. You know, Toff Sipley, Nath Brown, Ethan Bullymore are there rounding out the bench. So, Jason Saab in the reserves reportedly obviously dropped in these moves to try and find some form. So it's very interesting to see whether he can come back in and replace Tommy Talau in the Manly Sea Eagles best 17. The West Tigers, Heath Mason at fullback. Not a huge fan. As a Tigers fan, I would love to see Luke Lallee get a chance. He's been absolutely outstanding playing fullback in New South Wales Cup. So I would have loved to see him get this go. Heath Mason seems to be a bit of a Swiss Army knife for this Tigers team at the moment. He's got to be doing the right things at training, but I would have loved to see Lallee get a crack there. We do see the normal back four there. Jerome Luai named in the 6, Latu Fainu named to start in the 7, an awesome move. I would really love to see what this looks like on game day and whether we do see Luai on the left-hand side and Fainu on the right. Luai getting back into his natural 5'8" running role, I think is the best position for him and the Tigers moving forward. Fanua Bole and Terrell May up front. Api Coruscant at the 9, and then we see Jack Bird on an edge replacing Alex Seyfarth, who has been dropped to the bench. A very interesting move from Benji. Probably looking for maybe a bit of a response from Alex Seyfarth. Also, I know that the preference to use Seyfarth through the middle of the field. So maybe that's the direction that they're going to go, and Jack Bird shifts onto the edge there. Sione Fainu, Tony Sukar, and Talon De Silva there rounding out the bench with him. And Luke Lalii we see there on the extended bench. You never know, we might see a late change. I probably don't think it's going to happen, though. It is reported Heath Mason will be in the 1. So we'll see what happens there on game day. We'll back Manly in this one, sadly. I think they're going to be too good for the Tigers. But good to see that 6-7 switch from Benji. Very excited to see Latu Fainu play his first game starting in the 7 this year. We'll move on to the Knights and the Raiders. This is at McDonald Jones Stadium. The Raiders in red-hot form. I don't think it matters if they travel, especially with the troops that the Knights are missing. I'll be backing the Raiders in this one. Let's have a look at the teams. Fletcher Sharp, he is out with a lacerated kidney and a spleen issue as well, which is terrible. Almost I'd think it'd be season over for Fletcher Sharp. He's still in hospital in Perth, so prayers up for him. Hopefully he can recover and get back in the game ASAP. Greg Marju, he is named on the extended bench, along with Fletcher Hunt and Tyson Gamble as well. We do see Jacob Saifidi coming back at prop. So very good addition for the Knights. Jacob Saifidi hasn't played any footy since round 11, so big in for them. Jackson Hastings is the man to replace Fletcher Sharp in the 6 jersey, with Cogger retaining the 7. Tyson Frizzell pairs Jacob Saifidi at prop. Brayley starts in the 9, and then we've got Lucas, Pierce-Paul, Crossland 11 through 13 there as per normal scheduling. Brodie Jones, Thomas Cant, Jermaine McEwen and Matt Croker. You'll notice there is no one to take any hooker minutes unless Matt Croker jumps in there, but we would expect Jaden Brayley and potentially Phoenix Crossland to get the 80 done there at hooker with a 4-forward bench. For the Raiders, there is one big change. Obviously, Jed Stewart remains on the wing for Savelio Tamale, who's out for multiple weeks. The big change for me is no Hudson Young. Now, it's reported that he's been managing osteitis pubis, which from all reports can be very painful. Obviously, he only played 55 minutes in Raiders game against the Tigers on Friday night last week, so they're giving him a bit of rest. Simi Sasagi comes in to fill that hole there on the left edge. Zach Hosking remains on the right with Corey Horsburgh locking the scrum. Noah Martin, Morgan Smithies, Atam Mariota and Owen Paddy round out the bench there. I would naturally think that's the 17 that we'll see on game day, and we'll back in the Raiders there pretty comfortably, I think, against the Knights, who now losing Sharp as well as they're up against it, the boys, so got a feel for them. Broncos versus the Warriors is going to be a very good game. We've got 4th versus 5th. It's at Suncorp. The Broncos have some names back, and they've stuck with the 17 that they were running with last week. So Reece Walsh up the back. Karapani holds onto the wing spot. Cobbo is on the extended bench. So there is rumour that Selwyn Cobbo will be potentially entertaining offers from the Dragons and Souths. It's yet to it's yet to see whether he will end up going before the June 30 deadline. There is really not much time left. The Dragons, I think, are pushing for it. I don't think the Broncos have any urgency to let him go before the deadline. Aside from that, you'll see a very similar team to what you saw last week. We see Piakura on the edge with Jordan Ricky, Paddy Carrigan still in the 13 jersey with Corey Jensen playing prop. I think that's where they played their best footy this year so far. Billy Walters is onto the bench. Corey Pake's obviously in the 9 as well. Billy Walters on the bench. Kobe Hetherington, Willison, and Jack Gashevsky round out the bench. It's a shame. I would have loved to see Piakura get a chance of 80 minutes on the edge, but with Jack Goz there, it remains to be seen whether he can hold on to all of those minutes on the edge there. Warriors, they're missing Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, who looks like a high ankle sprain for him. So Ed Cossey comes into the team for the Warriors. Adam Pompey obviously at centre as well. Now we do see Luke Metcalf. He has been named, even though he's working his way through a quad cork from last week that he had pretty heavily strapped. Obviously couldn't kick last week either. So by all reports, Adam Pompey will be the one that takes the goal kicking until this settles down for Luke Metcalf. James Fisher-Harris is the captain. He is paired with Murata Niokore at prop. Kirk Capewell comes back into the team on the edge, paired with Jacob Laban, who I did not expect to see in the 12. I was expecting to see Leka Halasima. But Jacob Laban coming in and starting in this team just goes to show the leaps and bounds that he's taken this year for the Warriors. Leka drops back to the 17 jersey. Jackson Ford on the bench there. We know that Andrew Webster loves to make late changes with his props and with his forwards in general. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jackson Ford start and potentially Niokore or even Laban drop back to the bench there on game day. And then on the extended bench, we see Sam Healy there. He's been fantastic this year covering for Wade Egan, but he is back in the team. Tane Tuapiki apparently working his way through a concussion. So we might see Tane Tuapiki come in and replace Ed Cossey if he can make it through those protocols. Very tough one to pick, this one, guys. I'm honestly not really sure, but I think I'm going to back in the Broncos at home. They're paying $1.56. I think there's value in the Warriors if you're a punter, of course, gamble responsibly, but there's definitely value on the table in both of these games here. Warriors been great defensively. The Broncos starting to get back into their regular routine of winning these games that they should win. So, yeah, we'll back in the Broncos, but it's going to be a tight one. Let's go to Dragons and the Eels now. Saturday at 5:30. This one's at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. We've got the 11th place Dragons playing against the 15th placed Eels. I'm not sure whether this could be the best game of the week or the worst. And honestly, if that doesn't tell you what the game's going to be like, I don't know what to tell you. Let's move in to have a look at the teams here. Harm Saleh out with Tyrell Sloan also being dropped. I think this might be a message from Shane Flanagan. Somehow Kyle's still playing, but Tyrell can't apparently. Corey Allen comes into the team to replace Sloan, and Valentine Holmes obviously coming in after Origin. Christian Tuipulotu's back after that 2-week hamstring strain, so he's going to try and string some games together. Christian Tuipulotu on that left wing, which means Nathan Lawson drops back to the extended bench. Lycan King-Tongia and Kyle Flanagan are the halves as always, even though Lachlan Ilias and his halves partner, forgot his name, but they've both been playing really good footy to a point where the Dragons reserve grade team have won 8 in a row. So it'll be interesting to see whether Shane Flanagan's hand is forced in this in the coming weeks if they continue to string together some L's. Jacob Little on the bench with Hamish Stewart. Viliami Fafita gets his first game of the year, and Luciano Leilua in the 17 jersey, trying to still lock down an 80-minute role for the Dragons on the edge. We do see Toby Couchman switch from the right edge to the left. Jaden Sewer comes back after his 2-week absence, so a very big in for the Dragons there. The Eels, they're losing Riley Smith and Will Penasini to suspensions. Riley Smith will miss 2 weeks and Will Penasini will miss 3. So we'll see Jordan Samrani come back in at centre to fill that hole from Will Penasini, and we'll see Joey Lussick do the majority of the hooking in the absence of Riley Smith. Zach Lomax on the wing there with Josh Adokar. Sean Russell remains at centre on the left side. Dylan Brown comes back in off his 1-week suspension to pair Dean Hawkins, who was again fantastic last week, relieving Mitchell Moses. Jack Williams and Junior Bolo at prop. Kelma Tuolangi and Katoga are the edges. Jermaine Hopgood still in the 13. The bench is Walker, Dory, Geimer, and Joash Papali'i dropping back to the 17 after filling in the 6 last week. Very excited to see him starting to get a run of games in first grade. He's been fantastic. We're going to back the Eels in this one. The Dragons just really struggling to string things together. Jaden Sewer back is huge. Obviously, Gutho's still leading that squad, but he's gone missing a little bit in previous weeks. And I just don't know whether this halves combination for the Dragons is the one to take them through to find these wins in these even games. So I'm going to back the Eels in this one. The Dolphins versus the Rabbitohs. They come up at Suncorp Stadium. I'm going to be backing the Dolphins in this one. Now, Jack Bostock is pretty much the only man to be missing, even though the Dolphins are missing tons of troops. Jack Bostock, sadly, out for the season with an ACL, so he is replaced by Junior Tupou. Not a bad replacement, even though he's yet to find his regular spot in first grade, sadly. Obviously, Jake Avarillo there at centre, Hamiso at fullback. Isaiah Katoa is the captain again, with no Felice Kafusi. He's just had surgery on a knee, so he will be missing up to 6 weeks with that. Francis Molo and Mark Nichols are the props. And Finafuiaki, Oren Keeley remain on the edge. Kurt Donahue locking the scrum as always. They're missing Plath, they're missing Gilbert, they're missing Flegler. And then now they're missing Kafusi. That's 4 really, really influential middles for the Dolphins. So they've got their backs up against the wall, but they've been playing some outstanding footy. So I'm going to still expect the Dolphins to get one over the Rabbits here. But again, it's a Wayne Bennett revenge game. So you know what they go like. You never know how this is all going to play out. It's old coach versus new coach kind of stuff. Harrison Graham, Connolly Lemuelu, who's been fantastic off the bench. Ray Stone and Josh Kerr round out the bench there for the Dolphins. The extended bench, I can't imagine anybody coming in late. Rabbitohs, Latrell at the back, AJ and Ty Munro are the wings. Campbell Graham comes back in after he's been managing that back injury, so it's good to see him back in. He pushes Ewan Aitken back to the edge, which is great news for anybody who owns, aka me. Cody Walker comes back in the 6 to replace Bud Sullivan as well, so it looks like Cody Walker working his way through that groin injury. Sean Kepi back in the team here at starting prop. Saliva Hivili, the hooker, with Pete Mamazelis coming back in the 14 jersey. So it's good to see him back on the footy field, Pete Mamazelis, after he was starting to put together some really good footy before he went and got injured. Keon still at prop. Ewan Aitken back on the edge with Tallis Duncan, who's also been playing really well. Jai Arrow in the 13, pushing Lachlan Hubner back to the bench. Davey Moali and Tavita Totola also there rounding out the bench with Isaiah Tass, the man to drop out for Campbell Graham at centre. Yeah, tough one. I reckon this could be a little bit closer than what we think. You know, the Dolphins obviously didn't put together their best footy last week. So for me, I think the Rabbitohs definitely having some troops back will make it tight. But I think Dolphins at home are a much better team than they are away. And I think the Dolphins will just get this one done. I'm going to say anywhere between 1 to 6 points, the margin. Let's talk about the Storm and the Sharks. The Sharks are an absolute rabble at the moment, and the bookies are agreeing with me. It's at Amy Park. It's a tough road trip. Nico's really not playing his best football at the moment, and nor are the Sharks in general. I expect the Storm to get this one done. Jack Howarth is the man that drops out. He is out of this team. Xavier Coates comes back in after having a rest last week after Origin. Grant Anderson moves to centre. Suafar Longo then comes in on the right wing there for that backline for the Storm. Jerome Hughes and Cam Munster are the halves, as expected. Josh King and Stefano up front, and then Sean Blore, Katoa and Trent Liero there round out the backs. Now, Tyron Wishart off the bench, Tui Kamikamika, Nelson Asofa Solomona, and Alec McDonald are the bench forwards there. Harry Grant, you'd naturally expect to play 80, but Tyron Wishart obviously can fill in there, as he has done really well in previous weeks. I would naturally think Wishart might come in a 13 role for Liero potentially to manage his workload through this Origin period. So, back of Wishart for a try in the last 10 minutes is usually paying $1.01. For the Sharks, Will Kennedy still at the back. They've still got the same back line. Sifa Talakai still in at left centre there, pairing with Ronaldo on that edge. Ronaldo having a really poor game last week, so I'm expecting him to bounce back. Again, tough matchup to bounce back against, though. Nico Hines and Trindle are the halves. The 9 through 13 are exactly the same as they are in previous weeks. Teague Wilton has been named despite being poked in the eye last week and having to go to hospital, so good signs for him after not being able to see out of that eye. So, yeah, very good news for Teague Wilton and the Sharks. The bench is Atkinson, Colhoun, Rodolph, and Hamlin Ueli. So, Puru dropping out of Hohepa Puru dropping out of this team. He'll get his chance in the future as well, no doubt. Very talented player. We'll back the Storm. I think they'll do it pretty well in this one. And the final game of the week, we do have a full slate, 8 games, which is amazing for us, maybe not so much for our spouses who won't see us all weekend. But we do have the Titans and the Cowboys, the ultimate poo slinger, to finish Sunday, 4:05 p.m. It is at Cbus, but sadly the Titans are missing Jaden Campbell, who is out with a concussion. That means he will miss this week and also next week with the Titans bye. So AJ Brimson at the back. We still don't see no Brian Kelly yet. So they're going with the Fafita and Philip Sami centre combo with Alan Fitzgibbon on the wing, AKP the other wing. Tom Weaver is the man to come in and replace Jaden Campbell this week, and Jaden Campbell will be back in round 19, pending he passes HIA protocols. Jamin Jolliffe starts at prop again with Regan Campbell-Gillard. Tino comes back into the starting lineup in the 13, and then we got Randall and Firma, the edges, as per the last couple of weeks. Chris Randall doing some God's work over the last couple of weeks. Still no David Fafita. The rumours are that he has gone in for another minor surgery on that knee, so he will be available from round 19. As per reports. Jacob Arlick, Mo Fodawaker on the bench, Cleese Haas and Isaac Fa'asor-Mala'awi there round out the bench for the Titans. The Cowboys have made some changes, some positive changes. Shout out to Todd Payton. Wheels up, Todd Payton. I'm all for this change, and it brings back in the big red dog, Jake Clifford, into the 6 jersey to pair with Tom Dearden in the 7. The Jackson Purdue 5'8 experiment is done for now. It won't be the last we see of him in the 6 jersey, but for now I think it's better that he plays at left centre. Zach Laybut shifts to the right. No Viliami Vailea yet. It remains to be seen whether that continues. Scotty Drinkwater will definitely benefit from this. He played his best football through that period where Jake Clifford was in the 7, so I naturally expect Scotty Drinkwater to get a big win here. Jordan McLean and Sam McIntyre are the props. Robson comes back into the team, as does Ruben Cotter in the 9 and 13 respectively. John Bateman and Jeremiah Nanai are the edges. Harrison Edwards, McKaylee, Griffin Neem and Cohen Hess are the bench as per previous weeks. So this is probably looking like their best available team at this point in time. So some really positive changes there. Well done to Todd Payton on getting Jake Clifford back in the team. The Cowboys absolutely needed that. And I will back in the Cowboys to win this one against the Titans, missing Jaden Campbell. They are on the bottom for a reason. Now, that is TLT, guys. If you'd like to support the show or support the channel in general, please hit like and subscribe below. It does help the episode get out to more people and give us more reach and give us the opportunity to get more followers and things like that. So it does help the show if you hit that like button down below and hit that subscribe button. For those of you on audio, please hit the follow button so you don't miss any future episodes, and leave us a nice 5-star review if you do like the content. We'll be back for all of our Supercoach shows coming up, and if you want to become a subscriber, the link's in the description below. We'll see you tonight for the subscriber Q&A and tomorrow for the live. We'll catch you then.